Like sometimes happens with individuals after jobs like the ones I had conversations with several political parties on potential ways that I could best serve Canada. Last year, I made my decision. I wanted to join a team motivated to serve Canadians through hope and hard work. I wanted a leader I could follow heart and soul. I'm a Liberal. Now, I don't know if any of you noticed, but one of the other political parties doesn't seem to be taking the news too well. I'm just guessing. I want to tell them, look, it wasn't you, it was me. But you know what? After this last week, let's be honest, it was really them. They're not going to like that. As I said, it's been quite the week for my family and I. The Conservatives were thoughtful enough to welcome me into political life with a 21-gun salute. And by the way, as a gunner, that's good, as a gunner, technically I can appreciate the organizational skills and the sense of timing required to make this happen. Let me take this head on. We're Liberals, we're reformers, we're always open to debate, discussion, improvement of policy. In my case, the issue has become a severance benefit for retiring soldiers, a benefit that's part of a standard package offered to all the troops after 20 years service when they retire. Managed by the Conservative government, and I welcome any debate on this. But let's also make no mistakes about what this was. It's not about the policy. As mentioned, the Conservatives have owned this policy for 8 years. It's administered by the Minister of National Defence. It's his policy. That's right. And I welcome the review. I have this vision of the minister looking at himself in the mirror and going, what did I do? How's that going to work out?
It was a benefit that you availed, the $72,000. Can you tell us if you ever thought of not availing yourself of the entire use of the benefit for such a short move? And can you explain why you decided to use it when some others haven't?
The benefit is part of the settlement package, the conditions under which we joined the Canadian Armed Forces. It's been in place for decades. It's managed by a Conservative government. It's overseen by a Conservative Minister of National Defence. The administration of the Treasury Board rules, policies and guidelines are managed by an independent third party. And I believe Canadians will judge my contributions to Canada on the entirety of the record of my service. It was part of the understanding under which I joined. And in my case, there were many occasions when I could have moved my family, but chose to leave them there knowing that the time when I had to hang up my spurs, the real estate, legal, and those such expenses would be paid by the Government of Canada for the service that's been rendered for any soldier over 20 years.
Mr. Leslie, you said...
No, this
is not up to you to choose.
Political party? Unfortunately, I think the attack machinery of certain political parties is at a state now where to attack is instinctive for some of them. And I'm delighted to have joined Justin and his team, who do not believe in such divisive, vindictive political approaches.
Now,
I must say that the courtesy and the warmth and the support that I've received from the Liberals has been extraordinary. I
Now,
feel at home
you're
here.
rumored to be
Excuse me,
running.
madam.
Parties were courting you before you decided to join the Liberals. Can you give us some details about that? What do you mean?
I'm sorry, no, I'm not going to go into any details, and I'm delighted with the choice that I made.
With respect, sir, part of the issue is that you're suggesting the Conservatives were courting you. You chose the Liberals, and then as a result, this is sort of part of the attack. So I think...
I'm sorry, madam, the word courting is yours. I've never used such a word.
A number of parties were talking.
There have been a variety of discussions, two-way discussions over the course of the last while, and I'm delighted to say I've joined the Liberals.
Did you take the better offer?
Excuse me?
Attack as a result of you...
Yes, young lady at the back, sorry.
Sorry, though, in the speech you said it wasn't you, it was me, which would suggest that they approached you. That's what you say when you break up with someone now.
I hadn't actually interpreted my comments with that subtlety. When I said it wasn't you, it was me, it was my choice to actually seek and make the final decision.
But are you
And I'm
suggesting
delighted
that
with
the
the
attacks are as a
decision
result
that I
of you
made.
joining the Liberals? Are the attacks...
Did you take the better offer? General Leslie, did you take the better offer?
I'll tell you what the offer I got from Justin was. I can tell you with certainty that I joined the better team and the better man. The promise that Justin made me was no pay and lots of hard work, mainly on weekends and at nights, helping with the International Affairs Committee. That's the only promise.
Why
that's been
haven't you
made.
declared your intent?
Est-ce que vous avez eu, oui ou non, des discussions avec le Parti conservateur?
I've had
Can you talk to us about your discussions with the Conservatives?
Why don't you commit to what riding you're running in?
I have nothing further to announce right now. As I mentioned during my speech, I very much enjoyed the run with Justin during the Army Run Day. But I'll tell you what, stay tuned.
Are you looking at
I'll stay tuned.
Who have had to bear tens of thousands of dollars worth of losses on real estate deals and things like that because they've been transferred through the course of their jobs. And when they look at you receiving $72,000 for a move within, what do you say to them, those who are having to bear that burden?
I think that's extraordinarily unfortunate. I think the policy for the personnel that you've referred to should be amended and modified so that we don't disadvantage any soldier, either at any stage during their career or certainly for those who've suffered losses as well as at the end of their career. Sir.
Giving the money back.
The policy's been in place now for a couple of decades. It's been administered by a Conservative government. The various levels of approval are in place, overseen by Conservative government officials. This policy belongs to the Minister of National Defence and be used by any soldier from private to general for many years.
Mr. Leslie,
Oui.
you mentioned that you welcome a debate, a review of the military relocation program. So can we hear your actual thoughts right now on the policy, on the fact that Canadians are paying for not just moving costs, but it seems to be they're paying for real estate fees, when these fees should be or usually are calculated within the cost of the house. What are your thoughts on that policy?
I'm sorry, could you unpack that just a...
Yes. Can you tell us, you said you welcome a debate and a review on the policy of military relocation.
Absolutely.
So can you tell us your thoughts on that policy?
Well, I think the policy for those who retire, I think they work extraordinarily well. They're part of the conditions of service under which we all join. There's various limits for those who have less than 20 years and more than 20 years. The intent of the policy is to partially compensate people for the many moves that they've made in their lives. Some people choose to buy a house and then leave their families there, but that house may not be what exactly they want or where they want it at the end of their career when they hang up their spurs. So I believe the current policy is certainly worthy of review and discussion by the people who own the policy, and that's the Conservative Government of Canada. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any evidence that Conservatives leave your expenses?
I'm sorry?
Do you have any evidence that Conservatives leave your expenses?
I have evidence. No, I'm sorry. I have no evidence that anybody has leaked anything. All I know is that which members of a variety of media outlets have reported on at certain times.
Then where did the information come from?
I'm sorry?
Where did the information come from?
Well, I think that's an extraordinarily good question. I think that's probably worthy of someone looking into. Once again, I'm very reluctant to jump to conclusions without an evidentiary train being presented to me.
Did any Conservative cabinet ministers ever suggest you run for the Conservative Party?
I've had a variety of discussions with a variety of both corporate and political leaders, and I've chosen the team that I've chosen, and I'm absolutely delighted to have done so.
Corporate pays better.
General, why so coy? It's not a crime to talk to the Conservative Party. If you did, why don't you just tell us that you talked to the Conservative Party?
I've talked with a variety of parties.
Did you talk to Elizabeth May?
You're not being overly aggressive on this. You raised it. You brought it up in your speech. You talked about it. Now you're saying that the Conservatives have come at you, they've attacked you. I think it's a fair question for all of us to ask you, did the Conservatives court you? Did you have conversations with them? And as a result, do you believe that that's part, you chose the Liberals? Is that part of this?
It is true that there were discussions between myself and a variety of political parties, of which the Conservatives were one.
Who did you talk to at the Conservative?
No, she's doing her job and it's working. Congratulations, very well done.
Did you ever offer to run for the Conservatives?
But
Go ahead, sir.
But the party that I chose is obviously the Liberal Party of Canada. And there were a variety of discussions, Evan, on me running in a variety of venues, not only with the Conservatives, but with others.
What other ridings? What ridings?
Do you want to be defense minister?
I'm sorry, Terry.
The minister, without using the word, is essentially called you a liar for suggesting you didn't know how much the moving bill was. How could you not know?
What the minister says, it's entirely up to him. I was a bit surprised to see the minister in on a weekend in a building apparently he's rarely in, taking a personal involvement in the wordsmithing of a press release. I don't know how many he's actually put out, but I think it's certainly less than a dozen. So I think I've now been the récipiendaire of 2. So I also congratulate the minister. It's not often you have a minister of national funds personally directing the saluting guns at a specific target.
How much fundraising have you done for the party?
Sorry?
You not know was the question. You didn't answer that.
I'm sorry?
How could you not know how much the bill was?
In what context, Terry?
Well, you're selling a house, you know pretty much what the real estate fees are going to be. You had a pretty good idea what the moving bill would be.
I'm sorry, Terry. I've given 2 media interviews on the subject, one to CTV and once to Global. I think if you look at the Global article, you'll see that the message in that, which predates the minister's statement, is a little bit more precise and less inaccurate. And of course, you've all got a copy of my statement. So thank you. Elise?
You said you don't want to say courting. Is that because you approached the Conservatives?
There were a variety of discussions with a variety of political parties at a variety of levels, and it depends on the level.
You said the Liberals were a natural fit, then why didn't you choose them first? Why did you
I was strictly apolitical until such time as I finished my tenure in the... So.
You're saying that you approached them now.
Sorry.
You're saying you approached them.
I'm so sorry. Someone... No. I'm looking for someone who hasn't had a question yet.
General Leslie, the Conservative Party has just sent an email to me and says Andrew Leslie approached the Conservative Party of Canada. So is that true?
I've approached and been approached by a variety of political parties over the last,
Did you approach the Conservative Party?
Yes or no? Can you either correct them if they're wrong, or tell us if that is accurate?
a bunch of people have talked to me, and I've talked to a bunch of people.
Est-ce que vous avez appelé les conservateurs ou est-ce que les conservateurs vous ont appelé?
Did the Conservatives call you, or did you call the Conservatives?
Depending on what level, people approach me, and as you get higher up the food chain, you're talking to them and you're approaching them, and it's a bit of a back and forth, much akin to a dance. By the way, if I could just point out as well, the exact same thing happens in corporate life. And let's not forget, when I left the armed forces, after a variety of discussions with a whole bunch of people, I joined a large corporation.
Isn't this the kind of thing you're
On that note, thank you very much. Trudeau, thank you.
Do you think if there were discussions with the Conservatives, why are you keeping them secret, given what you say are now their attacks on you? I mean, you could just speak freely about it.
Thank you.
Thanks.